Hi, my name's Mike, and I have known that I needed to make a change for a long time. I first learned about Prestige Labs Challenge through Jay Randall over at 901 Fitness, who I had joined back in July of this year. Uh, he did an excellent job of, selling me on the challenge and giving me the nudge that I needed to go ahead and scan the QR code he's got posted on the wall, download Fit Manager, and helped me a ton with sign up because I don't have Facebook, so I had to go through the support channel instead. But we got through all that. We started the challenge. When I started, I had already been working with Jay for a couple of weeks, so I was at 268 pounds. Last week, I was at 236. I lost 32 pounds in 6 weeks. This is the first time that I've used Prestige Labs, but it's not the first time that I've tried to get in shape, not by a long shot. For a good 16 years, I have floated somewhere between 260 and 300 pounds. I've always heard that the older I get, the harder it'll be to get in shape, but I've always had time. I'm 23 years old. I'm 25 years old. I got time. I'm 30 years old. I'm 37 years old. I've still got time, right? I was older than I care to admit when I realized that getting in shape is not something I can just do and then ride on the laurels of that accomplishment and go back to eating the same thing and living the same way. It is a change that I will have to make forever. It is a commitment to change my life, my entire life, every day, every meal, sometimes hour by hour, indefinitely. It is also something that I soon realized was something I would always struggle with. I will always want to eat cookies and fast food and have a Coke with every meal. It is in my mind an addiction that I will have to fight for the rest of my life. And while it may not ever get easier per se, it might be something that I can get used to fighting. As I do this, I can learn the tools and tactics I need to keep this lifestyle change. So, how do you make a change that'll last forever? I figure it's the same way that I got into this mess in the first place, slow and gradual. So, the first step I took was to surround myself with people and stories that would inspire me to start the journey. Back at the time, I was big into Reddit, so I subscribed to a bunch of subreddits with people who were losing weight and getting in shape. Didn't really do anything to change me, but it did constantly remind me that this is a goal that I want for myself. Next was tracking calories, which seemed like an obvious first step. Not change my diet, but just keep an eye on what I was eating just to get a baseline, follow CICO maybe. You very quickly learn that not all calories are the same, and fast food, a specialty down here in the South, is notorious for serving 1,000 calorie burgers that only last a few hours before you're craving another. Fortunately for me, when I really started tracking my calories, a lot of fast food chains were putting their calorie counts right on the menu, so it was easy to get a good estimate as long as you were paying attention. So the next step of my weight loss career was the longest by far and one that I'm still working through, which is finding foods that I like to eat that keep me full the longest. But this is tedious to find these foods. And every now and then I would find things that seemed to make a bit of difference, chicken being my favorite, but it never lasted very long, and often I'd get tired of it and change it up because why not? I'm only failing myself, and if there is anyone that I'll forgive, it's yours truly. But I tried everything. I tried shakes, Huel, Soylent, Slim Fast, Ensure, prepped meals, Weight Watchers, meal plans like vegetarian or vegan or Atkins or paleo. And remember, these weren't something that I would try one after the other. I would try one of these things for a month or a week or sometimes just a day and I'd get tired of it or just outright hate it and fizzle out. And months later, I'd remember I was supposed to be losing weight. In the meantime, I also started trying to find ways to exercise because I noticed that when I exercise regularly, it does a good job of reminding me that this is a lifestyle that I want, and it would encourage me to stick with whatever meal plan I was currently trying. So I tried to find things that I could do that I didn't hate, because remember my mantra here, slow and gradual. At this point, I'm well aware that this is a lifelong habit I want to build. And if I get into something and go hard at it and burn myself out, it's no good. Jogging, for instance, I hated immediately. Distance walking, though, I liked that. I could pop on an audiobook and go for a good 6 miles or so, 4 days a week, and that lasted over 3 years. Eventually, though, I moved back to Memphis, where I'm living now, and the roads where I live aren't as friendly for walking, so that kind of petered out. But I kept at it, and I tried other things like biking and getting a standing desk, and then getting a walking desk where I bought a treadmill to put under it, which lasted about a week till I realized I was sweating all over my keyboard. But then I got into bodyweight exercises, which lasted for a good year or so. And then my dad died in 2020 from COVID, and that really kicked my teeth in. And I wasn't really paying attention to myself anymore. Instead, we were helping mom get through the loss and helping with family finances, and my stuff kind of got put on hold. About a year after that, I remembered how good I was doing with the body weight exercises after I got my head back above water. So I picked it back up and I started working out again. I was doing pretty good for myself. In the meantime, a friend of mine started getting into rock climbing with a coworker, so I tagged along and did that a couple times, which honestly was very fun. There was one particular point where I was done with a climb and I jumped down. It was when you're done with the short climbs, that's what you do. You just jump down. Well, I forgot to keep my legs bent. And when I jumped, I didn't really land straight. And I'm also double jointed. So my knee was hyperextended. And I ripped my ACL, my MCL, and 2 meniscus when I landed. So I had to go get surgery, and I had to go do physical therapy for 9 months afterwards, and body weight got put on hold again. When they dismissed me from physical therapy, they said my strength in my knee was about 95%. And to get it back to 100%, I really needed to join a gym because they would have the machines that would have more weight that I could put on my leg to strengthen it. This is what I consider to be the first decision that led to a successful lifestyle change. I found the closest gym to my house, and I walked in and I talked to Jay at 901 Fitness, who took a fast interest in my own personal goals. He was very down to earth and told me point blank what I needed to do and what I would get out of it, which I appreciate immensely. I cannot stand salesmen promising me the moon for nothing, but what he was saying made a lot of sense based on everything I had learned so far. So I made the second decision that leads to a successful lifestyle change for myself, and this one I am much more familiar with. The promise to myself that I will start again. I have made this decision 100 times in the last 16 years, promising myself that I will live healthier. And every single time, it was either inconsequential or just temporary, because you start with great intentions and you're doing good, but then your dad dies, or you break a leg, or you change city. Life gets in the way and you stumble off the path, and to get back on, you have to make that promise again. But I did. I got me a tub of the French vanilla protein shake, and I went grocery shopping, and we got to work. And Jay was excellent at walking me through the meal plan materials, what each machine did, which ones would help me rebuild my knee, and how to make sure that I don't hurt myself using them. And we started a regimen. I would come in 3 days a week. I'd do 12 minutes on the bike, and then whatever set of exercises I was scheduled to do that day. More importantly, though, I started on the meal plan, which day one was odd. I had gotten a whole bunch of emails all at once, and I'd seen the grocery list guide first and figured I was just supposed to mix and match on my own, which was fine, but I'm not that good of a cook, so I can't really remember what I ate that first day, but it was wholly underwhelming. But as I was going back through the emails, I found the recipe book, which was an eye-opener for me because now I can just follow these and have meals that were pretty darn tasty and really easy to make. Most of these recipes were just something that I could throw into one pot. Jay was right. The FAQs were right. I felt full. Day 2, I tried the broccoli tuna salad recipe with like 6 cups of broccoli. And that was kind of a challenge, just getting all of that eaten. And then a couple days later, I noticed I'm not getting hungry between meals. And if I do, it's because I forgot to drink my protein shake. This was a profound change for me. I would often plan my day around what I would eat. I'd make a decision in the morning of what I wanted to eat for lunch, and that thought would linger in my brain, constantly reminding me that I want to go eat that food. After a week or so on this meal plan, I noticed that when that thought pops up now, it's not even a question of what am I going to eat for lunch. It turns into lunch is savory oats that I made 2 days ago, and it's sitting in the fridge for me. And that was it. I wouldn't spend any more time thinking about it. And sometimes I would forget to go eat it. What I would eat during the day started taking a back seat to everything else that I was doing. From day one, this plan is proving itself to me that it will help me keep my promise this time because I'm seeing changes immediately. And it's easy. It's cheaper than what I usually eat. It usually takes less time to get the food in me because I don't have to drive somewhere. I seem to have more time in the day to do other things because I'm not constantly trying to decide what my next meal will be or going to get it. And I feel better about myself, especially when I'm relaxing, because I've been to the gym already. I did what I was supposed to do. I deserve to sit and take a break. The second week, I started to see a weight change, which is great. And I started to see muscles that I hadn't seen since I was 20 years old. But at this point, that's just a bonus because what I'm starting to realize is that this addiction that I have might be reversible. I'm not going to have to constantly force myself to avoid junk food. This will be my default state. Occasionally, I'll have a bit of cake or a piece of candy, but then it's right back to the meal plan because I feel better doing those things than I would going back to eating fast food all the time. So I keep at it. I'm doing good. I'm seeing changes. And then one Saturday morning in early August, right after I had gotten done with HIIT exercises, I found out my mom has been taken to the ER and she was put on life support. And then life support wasn't working anymore. So we say our goodbyes and we let her go. And I stumble off of this path that I've started and I don't show up at the gym. And I don't really feel like making meals for myself. And it turns out Mom was loved by a lot of good people and they sent our family a ton of food, good food, southern food. And on the surface, it looks like I was going to follow that same route that I took when I lost my dad 3 years ago. But in the back of my mind, I could feel the difference this time. This was the temporary state now, not the other way. Previously, me keeping my promise to myself always had a risk of being the temporary behavior that might fizzle out. But for some reason, really all of the reasons that I just talked about, I could feel that what was happening right now, the habits right after my mom's death, was temporary. And I didn't know how long it was going to last, but I could feel the pull of going back to the gym and getting back on track. There was an incentive. I knew how good it was for me. I wanted to do that. So we spent the next week as a family arranging a funeral and figuring out finances and inheritances and everything else. And then everyone that was visiting went back to their lives. And at 4 o'clock Monday afternoon, 2 weeks after my mom had passed, I got in my car and I drove up to 901 Fitness and I got on the bike and I did 12 minutes. And then I went and did my squats and my bench presses and my hamstring curls. And when I got done with all my exercises, I went to Kroger and picked up some fish and asparagus and I went home and made dinner. This was the third decision that cemented this as a successful lifestyle change for myself because this wasn't even really a decision. I knew I was going to get back to it. I knew this is how I'm going to live. There will be times where I'll fall off the path again, but I don't have to work up the promise to myself to get back to what I want. This is just going to happen naturally. So I'm back at it a couple weeks later, and Jay mentions this Lean by Halloween thing. It seems like a no brainer. This is already something that I'm doing. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say my fitness was at a 4, but getting better. Might as well enter the contest just to have that extra incentive to really push myself and see how much I can change. I got the blue raspberry intra and pre workout and the heat pills, the raspberry pre workout being my favorite so far. And yeah, I went hard at it for 6 weeks and saw some pretty impressive results in myself. 32 pounds down and 13 and a half inches lost during this challenge, not including the progress that I have made since starting with Prestige Labs back in July. My pants are falling off of me. I'm about 2 inches smaller than any of my belts now. And I'd say that now my fitness is maybe a 5 or a 6. Definitely better, but still room to improve. 16 years of bad habits have been melting away in the few months since I have been introduced to Jay Randall and Prestige Labs, and a lot of it disappeared during these last 6 weeks. Everyone that knows me, friends and family, know that Jay and Prestige Labs are what I'm using to lose weight. But what I continue to stress to them is that this isn't just a plan that works if you follow it. Most plans work if you follow them. This plan makes it easy to follow because it proves itself immediately and continues to prove itself every single day that you follow it. I am proud of the fact that I'm following through. But honestly, with the meal plan, the exercise routine, the supplements, the support that I get from Jay and Garcia at 901 Fitness, this formula is so much easier than trying to figure it out piece by piece by myself. Prestige Labs has spent years finding a healthy and, more importantly, a sustainable lifestyle that they have documented so you don't have to figure it out for yourself. What they cannot do is make the decision for you to change your lifestyle. You have to make that promise to yourself yet again, because this isn't the first time you've made that promise. What they will do is help you keep that promise this time and make that promise easier for you the next time. There's another challenge in March, from what I've been told, and I'll be at that one too, because why not? There's no doubt in my mind that 6 months from now, I'll still be following the same plan. Jay, I appreciate you pulling me in and introducing me to this way of living, and I appreciate Prestige Labs collecting all of this information into one area, because it would have taken me another 10 plus years to figure this all out myself. So thank you.